I'm here. I have accepted this nomination. So we have just started our work.
And it's a very big job you've taken on, if I may say so, Alecos. I don't think any of us here are unaware of the fact that root and branch changes are going to have to be made to save the money that's been cut from the budget. Have you got any idea where to start?
Well, you are absolutely right, Rosie. The task I have undertaken is a big task. The duties this moment are quite heavy, because there is a need for, let's say, great decisions. But, okay, today is our first meeting. I cannot say much about where we are going to find the money or from where we are going to cut some money in order to have some savings and all these things. But anyway, the budget for 2014, it will be our major, let's say, subject in our next meeting as board next Tuesday afternoon. So for the moment being, I cannot say much to you and to your audience, but okay, we'll have to find ways to survive in a way that the CYBC will continue its function, will continue its mission, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And on the other things, we are going to do so, having in mind the environment in which we are living now. And when I say this, I mean the economic crisis.
But we also have in our favour the fact that new technology opens up an awful lot of opportunities to be able to even possibly improve the service at a lower cost.
Yes, okay. New technologies are always welcome, and today we have taken a decision, and we are going to proceed with the provision of new technology. And this new technology certainly will bring with it the drop of certain costs.
And what about the sort of looking across the whole? I mean, we're here sitting on Channel 2 of the radio, but we've got 4 radio channels, 2 TV channels, and a lot of other peripheral things going on. Have you had a chance, I suppose not yet, to look at the overall view and take a holistic picture of the corporation to see what could be maybe melded together or combined to continue offering a service but cutting those vital costs?
Well, unfortunately, we have not yet have a look on this overall mission, let's say. But all these things that you are mentioning now, Rosie, are things that will be examined. And when I said at the beginning that we are going to review our mission and to write down our mission and to see how are we going to work in the next few years, etc. Yes, all these things that you have mentioned, we are going to examine them.
Are you confident that you can do what needs to be done? I mean, I work here, so I hear a little bit of the corridor gossip. I try not to listen too much to it. But when you hear promises that nobody will lose their jobs, and you know that 6 million has to be saved, I'm a pragmatist, Alecos. I can't see how it can be done.
Okay, Rosie, you are pragmatist and you see the difficulties. I am pragmatist too, and I see the difficulties too. But on the other hand, I am always optimistic. I'm always optimistic because what I say is that if you study deeply a subject, you can find ways to overcome certain problems. I'm not saying that it is let's say, achievable, the savings of the 6 million. But we are going to enter into a dialogue with the Minister of Interior, with the House of Representatives, and all people concerned. Through this dialogue and through these negotiations that we are going to have in the next weeks, I believe that we have to find a compromise solution.
Can I ask you briefly about this business of advertising on the corporation? Because I spoke to, I can't remember who it was that I spoke to when it was first mooted. And it seemed to me a little odd that when the taxpayer is funding the CYBC, that it would make sense to cut off a possible alternative source of income that could replace some of what's coming from the taxpayer.
Well, what I would say on this issue is that it doesn't seem reasonable to cut all the adverts that we have on the CYBC. Maybe it's, let's say, smarter to discuss what we are doing with these revenues rather than to cut them. You see what I mean?
Yeah, OK. Well, what is done with the revenue is, of course, all important. I mean, we've just had a new clock-in system, apparently. I've just received my new clock-in tab here, and I'm thinking, how much did that cost when we can't afford chairs in the studio? You know, who is organising where the money goes, particularly bearing in mind that there isn't any money?
Yeah, OK. Good question. Anyway, all these things will be discussed next Tuesday. Of course, we are not going to examine everything at a meeting at just an afternoon. But,
no, I'm sure it's a long haul in front of you.
Yes, we will start to program certain meetings also with the Minister of Interior. And if needed, we have, let's say, players like some politicians, some political parties, or maybe with the House, with the Parliamentary Committee of Finance, etc. We need to do whatever we can in order to find the best solutions under the circumstances.
All right, I know it's difficult, and I won't keep you much longer, Alecos. Can you just tell me, please, when you're looking at the whole problem, you've obviously got to set priorities, but you're also on a fairly tight time frame. Can we learn anything from private broadcasters? I've worked in commercial stations, and there's a whole different attitude in a commercial station because the whole emphasis is elsewhere. It doesn't stop you making good programs, but it's just run like a business.
Yeah. Okay. Certainly we can learn a lot of things from the private sector. And this is something that we are going to look at as well. I mean, how other competitors are doing, how much does a program cost them, etc. Yes, these are things that we have to look at because we are going to learn a lot of things if we are going to, let's say, examine deeply what the others are doing.
OK, and I know you can't say much more because you've literally just had your first meeting, but exactly, I do hope that when and if decisions are taken, you might join us again to keep our non-Greek speaking population and indeed all our listeners abroad. We've got a lot of listeners in the UK and elsewhere in the world who I'm sure will be interested to know whether or not their favourite radio programmes are going to continue or not. Alecos, a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rosie.
Bye-bye.